screen. All right, so we are now on week 6. Okay, this is already the last module that we're going to discuss before your final exam. Okay, so just the module 9, and then after that, your laboratories, and then one quiz, and then we're done. Plus the case study, of course. Okay, so I would like you guys to check these three right here. So I created a mini version of your lab number 9. Okay, so this is your pizza ordering system, the complete one. But in here, I just created a sample. Okay, so just click this one and then download the exe file. Okay, so just download it and then save it and then run this one. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is just the the three options, but the other radio buttons are not included. But once you've learned the basics of this one, you will already learn the rest. Okay, so initially, okay, my radio buttons are locked. Okay, they are not enabled. So initially they are disabled. So they will only be enabled once I click this checkbox right here. So that's the purpose of this checkbox right here. Okay. So if I check it, it will be enabled. If I uncheck it, then it will be disabled. Okay. So I will be only be able to order once I let's say enable this one and then choose one of the sizes. So let's see if I compute total amount, then it will pop out right here. Okay, so the same with small and then large right here. Okay, so the same with the other two options. So for the Bolognese and then Hawaiian, so I can add two more pizzas and then it will be added onto my total computed amount. Okay, so if I want to cancel my order, then I can uncheck this one. Okay, say I would like to cancel everything, then there you go. So you can also do that one. Okay, wherein it will give me a zero amount of payment, of course. So yeah, that's how I would like you guys to program. Okay, the lab number 9. And if you want to see the complete version, okay, so it's right here, the pizza ordering.exe. So just download this one and then you will see the complete working version of the pizza ordering system. All right, so same functionality. It's just that we have another check boxes right here, another radio buttons, another check boxes. Okay, so I can order some of them. Okay, and then compute total amount will be displayed in here. So you don't need to put anything on the name, address, and then contact number. So they are just there for aesthetic for now. Okay, so you don't need to put anything in there. Okay, so if I want to cancel, then you can also do that one. Okay, and then the others will retain. Okay, so for the mini pizza ordering system, you can download this one so you can check the code, okay, of the mini version of this one right here on this RAR folder. Okay, so make sure to download this one and then extract it, and then you can open that one using the Visual Studio 2015 or 2019, and then you can check my code in there and then base it. Okay, analyze and then try to uh, see, okay, what are the things that you can do, what are the things that you can copy, and so on and so forth. All right, so are we clear so far for your lab number 9?
Yes, sir.
All right, so this is your guide for lab number 9. But for lab number 10, we have a lot of guides also, but it's on module 6. Okay, so make sure to finish everything on module 6 because there's a lot of similar, okay, activities that I have made in there, which is quite related with your lab number 10, especially for the series and then the parallel. But for the combination, that it is now up to you, okay, to do that one on your own. You're the one who's going to formulate the formula, okay, the correct formula with the corresponding values, and then the schematic, and so on and so forth. Okay. And then don't forget to answer also the case study number 7. Okay, the due date of this one is June 18. Same with your lab 9, and then the 6 quiz. Okay. But don't you guys worry, we're almost done. Okay, once we're done with the at least half of the module 9, okay, we will not really finish the module 9 because I would like you guys to have more time to finish the remaining activities. Okay. All right. So do you guys have more questions or clarifications that you would like to ask? Questions or clarifications, guys? If none, just give me a thumbs up so that I would know that you don't have a question. Okay, great. 4. So at least half of you are here listening. I don't know with the others. Well, anyway, so let us now start with the module 9, okay, or the module 3 in finals. Okay, so in module 9, we're going to talk about the looping, visual basic looping, data file, and then error handling, okay. But probably we'll just have a short discussion about data file and then error handling, and then we'll focus more on the looping because that is a part of your final exam. Okay. All right, so let's start. So what is looping? So looping is used for operations that are repeated for some number of times. Okay. So if you're going to search for the meaning of loops, so it's iteration. It just keeps on repeating that process. Okay. So of course in programming, you have to meet some conditions before it will loop. So once it doesn't meet the condition anymore, then maybe that's the time that it will stop looping. Okay, so that depends on your condition, okay, or the statement that you wanted to execute. So loop repeats until some specified condition at the beginning or end of the loop is met. Okay, so here are the looping statements. So we actually have 3. Okay, so the first one is do loop variations, the second one is for loop, and then the third one is while loop. Okay, just to make it clear, okay. So when we say loop, okay, under that we have 3 ways. Okay, so take note, 3 ways, meaning you can do everything, okay, on the do loop variations, and you can also do everything on the for loop statement. The same with the while loop statement. Okay, so to make it simple, you can use any of those syntaxes. Okay, whatever you can do with these do loop operations, you can also do it on the for loop and then while loop. Just a different syntax. Okay, the same with the for loop. Whatever you can do on the for loop, you can also do it on the other two loop syntax or statement. Okay, the same with the while loop. Whatever you can do with the while loop, you can do it on the for loop and then the do loop variations. So to make it short, you can just use one. You can just familiarize one if you're doing some program, and then yeah, you can stick with that and then disregard the others. But since you are still learning, then you have to explore everything. Like for example, the question is asking you to program this one using for loop, then you have to use the syntax of for loop. But if it's asking you to use while loop, then you have to use while loop. The same with the do loop variation. So if it's asking you to program that one using do loop variations, then you should do that one using do loop variation. Okay. So am I making myself clear? Hello, hello. Are we clear so far with the loops right here? Okay, so again, all of those 3 are just the same, just a different syntaxes. Okay, so if you're going to take a look on the do loop variations, so we have more variations, okay, or more syntaxes. Okay, we have the do while, do until, do loop while, or do loop until. Again, you can use just one, you can just use do while and then disregard the others. Okay, but yeah, that depends on your preference, of course, which one you would like to use. Okay, so all of them can do the same, right? So let's start. with the pre-test and post-test. So under loopings, we actually have this pre-test and then post-test. So from the word pre-test, okay, you have to test it first before you can do the looping. Okay, so when I say pre-test, so the condition will be at the very first of the line. Okay, so do while or until and then the condition, and then you can now uh, go on the looping part. Okay, so that's it for the pre-test. But for the post-test, so it's the opposite. Okay, so in here you can put the condition at the very end. Okay, but nevertheless those two will work the same. Okay, they have the same output, just a different way of putting the condition. Okay, so in here it's at the very first, but in here it's at the very end. Okay, but for the body of the loop, it's the same. Okay, just the syntax or on how you will put your condition. Okay, so that's it for pre-test and then post-test. So here are the loop variations or loop structures under pretest. So we have the do while loop, do until loop, while and while, and then for next. So we have four for the pretest. Okay, so all of those fours, all of the condition are at the very first of the line. Okay, and then for the post test, so as what we have mentioned a while ago, for the post test, the condition is at the very end of the line. Okay, so we have two for that, the do loop while and then the do loop until. So you can see that it has a pattern wherein do while, okay, and then before the ending loop, so this is a pretest. But if we have do only and then the loop while is at the very end, then this is post test. Okay, so the same for the do until. Okay, so if we have do until right here, and this is the pretest, and then the looping end statement. But if we have do only, then this is already post test. Okay, because the until is at the very end of the line. Okay, so that is one way for you to familiarize which one, is this pretest or is this post test. Okay, but don't you guys worry, you don't really need to memorize that one. Just familiarize some concept of it, and then you will already learn the others. Okay, so in here we have the syntaxes. Okay, we have the syntax for dual loop, do until loop, do loop while, do loop until, while, and then for next structure. Okay, so we have 6 different syntaxes, but then again, you can just choose one. Okay, once you're doing your program, okay, your official program, you can just choose one, and then that's it. You can stick with that one and then disregard the others. Okay, so whichever you think you're comfortable in using that syntax, then you can go with that one. So in my case, I always use do while loop. Okay, just this one. I don't use the others anymore. Okay, but then again, if the program or if the question is asking you to do this one using do until loop, then you have to follow the correct syntax of the do until loop. The same with the do loop while and then do loop until and then while and then for next. Okay. All right, so let's start with the pre-test first. Okay, so when we say do while, okay, this will only work if your condition is true. Okay, so take note that is do while. But if it's until, so it is still a pre-test because the condition is at the very first of the line. But we have a different terminology right here, which is until. Okay, so if it's until, this will only work, okay, if the condition is false. Okay, so I hope from there you already get the logic. So if it's while, this will only work if the condition is true. But if it's until, this will only work if the condition is false. Okay, so later on we'll have example for this one. Okay, but for now, just familiarize this word while. If it's while, the condition must be true for you to be able to execute your loop statements. Okay, and then vice versa for the until. If it's until, then the condition must be false before it will execute your false statements right here. Okay, so are we clear so far? Are you guys getting the idea? Okay, just at least 50%. Okay, no need to memorize, just familiarize. Or are you guys quite confused? So let me know so that I have an idea on what is going on with your minds right now. So did you guys get this one? Only one? Okay. So I hope the others, at least get 10% or 20% of this structure right here. Okay, so we have four more. Okay, so the next two is quite the same. It's just that the condition is at the very end. Okay, so the same concept. If it's while, again, if it's while, then your condition must be true before you can perform this true statements right here. Okay, and then for the until, again, the condition must be false before you can perform your statements right here. Okay, so again, right here on the do loop while and then the do loop until, this is a post-test structure. Okay, so this is the pre-test and then this is the post-test. So those two are just the same. So whatever you can do with this pre-test, it can be also done on the post-test. Just a different syntax. Okay, and then for the while and then the for next structure. So this is also part of the pre-test. Okay, so your condition must be right here before you can execute your statement right here. This while right here is actually quite the same with the do while. Okay, just a different starting point. So before we have the do while, but in here we just have while. And then for the ending point, we have loop, but in here we have end while. So that now depends to you on which one you're going to use. Okay, this one is quite familiar with the do while. Okay, and then for the for next structure, okay, this is quite weird. So this is not that similar with the others. It has its own unique structure. So in here we have for and then the variable, followed by the initial number, okay, and then the final step, okay. So for the initial, this is the starting point of your loop, and then the final is the ending point of your loop. Like for example, you put here 1 and then the final is 10. So basically, it will loop 10 times, okay? But you can actually change the step value. Like if you put here 2, then it will increment by 2. So initially is 1, plus 2 is 3, plus 2 again is 5, plus 2 is 7, and then plus 2 is 9. And then it will not proceed on 11 anymore because the final value is 10, okay? So basically, it will loop 5 times, okay? Depending on your step value. So we can also do that one, the step value on the while and while, the do loop until, and then the do while loop, and then do until loop. Okay, just a different way of doing it. Okay, so basically, quite the same. Okay, so you will put here the condition on how many times it will loop, and then it will execute the statement down right here. Okay, and then you have to put the variable right here. Whatever's your variable right here should be the same on this variable right here. Okay, so for you to be able to appreciate those syntaxes, so I know that this one is quite confusing at first, but once you've learned one, just at least one syntax, you will already learn easily the other structure. Okay, so for the first exercise, okay, so display sequence of numbers from 1 to 5 using message box. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So as you guys can see, we have showed every syntaxes, okay, but all of them will just give us the same output, okay. So if you're going to do this one using do while, okay, so just wait a second. So let's open a project because I think I have already created this one. Exercise number 1, then solution. All right, so just wait a second while it's loading. Let's have a water break. All right, so let me delete this one for now. The same with this one. Let's start at the very first. So in here, I just put a button, okay? So there's a button, and then I changed the text into calculate, and then I just changed the size and then the font size. So this is now what where you wanted to double click so that we can program that one. So the first thing that we need to do is we have to declare a variable. So let's say dim y as integer, okay, And then next, we can initialize a value, okay, wherein y is equal to 1, okay. And then we will use do while, okay. So we can use do until, do loop while, loop until, but for now, let's use this one, okay, so that you will learn on how to do the others, okay. So do while, okay. So this one is ranging from 1 to 5, right? Do while y is less than 5, okay. Less than 5, okay. And then right here, we're going to increment this one by 1, okay. So y is equal to, okay, we will show the result on message box. Message box, value is y. Let's have a space right here. Hmm, is this correct? Wait. Okay, so we have to put concatenation. There you go. And then we will increment this one by 1. So we wanted to loop it 5 times. So we'll just increment it by 1. Y is equal to plus 1. Okay. Let's save this one and then let's test it. Okay, so wait a second. So in here, our initial value is 1. So it will keep on incrementing while this one is true. But once this one became false, then that's the time that it will stop looping. So calculate. So the first one is 1, of course. I click one more. Oops, why it didn't increment? All right. Okay. So I place it in a wrong. So we have to increment that one. Is it correct? Wait. Message box first and then, all right, so I missed something. Okay, so our first uh, arrangement is correct. However, I missed the y right here, so that it will increment by 1. So y is equal to y plus 1. So this one is just an indicator that we are incrementing this one by 1, okay, every loop. So 1 plus 1 will become 2, plus 1 again will become 3, until it will reach the false statement right here. So let's test this one again. So initial value is 1. So if I click OK, it will be incremented by 1 again. Okay, so this is now the second value, the third value, the fourth one, and then the fifth one. Oops, y is greater than 6. Okay, so that it will loop, okay, up to 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, 5, and then once it reach 6, okay, then it will stop looping because 6 is not less than 6 anymore, okay. So it is now a false statement, and that's the only time that it will stop looping, okay. So we have now the first example, okay, this one, using do while. So if you're going to use do until, so all you need to do is change the while into until. So until, and then make sure that this one is false, okay. So it will only execute the looping statements if this is false, okay. So to do that one, let's just inverse this one. So y is greater than 6, okay. So initially we have 1, okay, wherein 1 is not greater than 6, so it's false. So it will increment by 1, so 2. So 2 is not greater than 6, so it's still false. So it will still keep on looping until it reached the value of, I think, 7, yeah. So once this one became true, okay, that's the time that it will stop looping, okay. So let me change this one by 5. Let's see if it will loop until 5. So initially the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then once it reached 6, so 6 now is greater than 5, so it is now true. Then that's the only time that it will stop looping. Okay, so are you guys getting the idea of this do while and then do until? Okay, good for you, Mr. Giovanni. So again, uh, to avoid confusion, just use one, okay? Because if you're going to use do while and then until, do until at the same time, so it will really give you a big confusion, especially that this is the opposite of this one, okay? But if you're an expert, then you can do that one also, as long as you know the correct syntax, okay? So yeah, that's it for the pre-test of the do while and then do until. Let's now test this one using post test. So all you need to do is put this until right here, down right here, so loop until, and then the condition down right here. Okay, so we're going to use while for now. So again, if it's while, then this condition must be true. Okay, y is less than 6. So initially the value is 1. Okay, so since we're using while, then if this condition is true, then it will keep on looping. Okay, so it's incrementing by 1, so 2, 3, 4, 5 until it reach 6, then that's the only time that it will stop looping. Okay, so let me show this one to you guys. Okay, calculate. So initially the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then 6 now is not true anymore. 6 is less than 6, so it's now false. So that's the only time that it will stop looping. Okay, and then for the until, so just change this one into until, and then y now is greater than 5. Okay, so again, this will only work if this condition is false. So let's try this one. So initially 1 is greater than 5, so it's false. So it will loop. So 2 is greater than 5 is also false, so it will loop. 3 is greater than 5 is actually false, so it will still loop until it reaches the value of 5. Wherein 6, the next value, is already true, so that's the only time that it will stop looping. Okay? So are we clear so far? Are you guys getting the idea now of the pre-test and post-test? Okay, so again, this is just the syntax, okay, for the pre-test, wherein the condition is just at the very first. But for this one, it's just a post-test, which will give us the same result. It's just that the condition is at the very end of the line. Okay, so those four will give us the same result. Okay. And then for the while, okay, so all you need to do is change this while and then end while. Okay, I mean just change this do while and then loop into while and then end while, and then everything is pretty much the same. Okay, so as you guys can see, just this is just a different syntax. Okay, it will give us the same result. And then for the 4x, so of course we have to indicate here how many times it will loop. So the initial value is 1, and then it will increment up to the value of 5. So yeah, this is much more simpler. Okay, but maybe some of you guys will really love the syntax of this one, since this one is very straightforward. Like you don't need to do this one anymore, like increment it by 1, increment it by 2. In here, you just need to put your 1 to 5, okay? And then it will increment by 1 by default. But then again, you can change the step value, just put it right here, okay? Next, beside it, okay? Wherein it will jump every 2 or every 3. Okay, so we'll have an example on that one later on. Okay, so that's it for the exercise number 1. And then for the exercise number 2, I will discuss this one later, since we don't have enough time anymore. So we'll just continue the rest on the part 2. Okay, so goodbye for now and see you guys later.